Okay, so today's video is a little different because I have the pleasure of Skype meeting a big name in the Magento community. Here goes. Hi! It's nice to finally Skype you. Again, I've been practicing this. Guido Jansen. Is that right? Was that close?
In Dutch, it is Guido Jansen.
Guido Jansen.
But it's kind of difficult apparently. Abroad. Well, before I started working internationally, I should have switched to my second name, which is, well, in French it's Xavier, but in English Xavier or something like that, like the X-Men.
Full name.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I think I'm too late with that now.
I can still call you Xavier. There we go. We'll start it. We'll start it now. I've actually been watching YouTube videos of yours to try and teach myself how to pronounce your name. Fun fact, you only say your name in one video that I could find, and that was at Meet Magento Argentina in 2015 during your online persuasion talk. I think it was that one, yeah, the online persuasion one. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling now. Tell me about you.
Gonna stop rumbling? That's not that's not how you work. I've seen videos of you too.
Yeah.
It's just normally it's just me talking. You see, I'm not used to having to listen to the phone.
Oh, no, this is the first interview.
Yeah.
We can cut out a lot of pieces.
Yeah, we'll cut bits out. It's fine. We'll cut that bit. You got a background in psychology, is that right?
Yeah. I started with psychology in the university, and it's more the psychology where you look at systems and how to design them and how to make them more user-friendly, or to get users to make less mistakes while using them. And this is an area that originated more in nuclear power plants, where it's quite essential where people walk to the right room and look at the right meters and that kind of stuff.
Don't blow up anything.
Yeah.
During college it had nothing to do with online. Not much at least.
No.
But I got into it pretty quickly. Yeah.
I was going to say, you're a very big part of the Magento community, obviously. So what made you get into Magento, and what made you stay in Magento?
Well, during college, I was already a lot of my time online and making websites for people. I'm definitely not a developer. Don't let me code anything. But with a CMS system like Joomla or WordPress, especially in 2005, you could help a lot of people without actually knowing how to develop something or how to code something. And that's what I did. But not being a developer, what I did to promote me, and what was easier for me, is actually to build something around that, like translations, doing that, and organizing events, doing training for people working as a Joomla or WordPress admin. And I started doing that. Started online community for that in the local community in the Netherlands. And in 2008, I came across Magento. And actually, I thought Magento was really interesting because, especially at the time, it was light years ahead of the e-commerce competition. And e-commerce in itself was more interesting to me because being a psychologist and looking at optimization and usability, usually when you do a CMS project, at least 10 years ago, it finished when the website was launched. But for me, it got interesting after. And that was a good thing about e-commerce. That's also for the merchants. It started after launching. That's when it starts. That's when it gets interesting for the merchants. So that was also much more interesting for me. So that's how I got introduced to Magento.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point actually, because I've done obviously a lot of WordPress as well, and it is that you just put it live and then that's it.
There's a lot more money going on in e-commerce, so that also makes it easier. In CMS, there's less money for optimization or marketing. Some companies just want like an online catalog or something, and that's it. That's what they have money for. But with e-commerce, it's about directly making money. And that also makes it the money generated for the company, and easier to spend money on, easier to look after optimization and stuff, and doing cool stuff.
Yeah, you can see it working. Yeah, exactly. So it looks pretty dark there.
Oh yeah, it's
I'm in Singapore right now. It's 10:45 in the evening.
So what are you doing there?
I had a trip last Monday and Tuesday to Meet Magento Indonesia. It was the first Meet Magento there. Really nice to see. There are over 250 people coming for the first Meet Magento, so that's really good.
I saw it got coverage on the Indonesian news.
Yeah. Ben got some airtime on local TV, so that was cool. Yeah. And yeah, that was in Jakarta. So after I decided to travel a bit to Singapore, today I had a meetup with a local company that might want to organize a Meet Magento in 2017. So I spoke to them. Yeah.
Great. So how was the event? How was everyone there? Was it good? I saw there was a bull. I was quite disappointed that you didn't have a go.
Yeah, well, like I said, everyone I spoke to the day after was not really happy about being on the bull. So there were massages and stuff, or they needed massages. So
Oh dear.
yeah.
What probably was your favourite part of the event then?
Well, I had 2 presentations. That's always fun.
Yeah.
The online persuasion session you already saw. I did that here too. I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and that's really fun to do. It's obviously a topic I love to talk about. I do a lot of work in and like to share. And doing a presentation quite often also helps you tune the presentation and tune it to the audience, and help you focus more on how you're saying it and how you're trying to say it, instead of oh my god, what's my next topic, what's my next line. I saw you did a presentation a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I did. My first ever one.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't on anything techy, it was on equality, but it was, my heart was beating so fast, the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done, I think. Yeah, but it was really good, I loved it.
Are you planning on doing it more often?
Definitely. I just need to find something to talk about.
Not that I tend to struggle.
You already have a topic now, so you can diversify, but you already have one, so add more.
Yeah, that's the plan. Just need to keep adding more and doing more, but yeah, I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, and then the nerves, well, at least for me, the nerves stay for a couple of years. With the same presentation, and each time I have to do a new presentation, you still I get really nervous before going on stage. Still.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really go away, but I think that's also good, that gets you in the mood and
It's your focus.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my presentation was really good, but it's also being on stage. It's really, what's fun about it. It's not necessarily the presentation itself, but it's seeing that the first time those people are together. It's the first time they might have met online. A lot of them, they heard some names of the local community, and it's the first time you see them becoming that community in real life, and that's really cool to see. And that's why I really love to go to first Meet Magentos, to really see that first start. I did the first Meet Magento in the Netherlands in 2009, so I know, or at least I have a good idea of what's coming next, what's coming in the next couple of years. And for me, this is really corny maybe, but in the Netherlands, every year Meet Magento feels like a family reunion to me.
Oh.
So for
that it gets like that. I think it's really good.
And that's really cool to see a first event like that in a community happening, and being able to help them kick off such a. And of course, a lot of people will not be there anymore in 5 years, but a lot of them will form friendships and start businesses together, and that's really fun to see.
I love seeing that as well. I think that's probably my favourite part of going to events. It's seeing how people mingle and then seeing what happens after. Yeah, it's quite exciting stuff.
Yeah, and the sessions are usually just an excuse to go to drink afterwards with each other. So.
It's all about the after parties. Oh, good. So yeah, another country conquered for Meet Magento then.
Yeah, and a big one. And it's really interesting to see the differences between those countries. There's always something different in each country. What makes it tricky to do e-commerce, or what makes it easier to do e-commerce? Like Indonesia, there's so many islands, logistics here is really a big issue to get something from one island to an island that's a couple of 100 kilometers away from where you are. So that's really always fun to see.
Yeah, you don't think about stuff like that, yeah?
And in the Netherlands and here in Singapore, it's relatively easy. Our logistics is easy because it's such a small country. It's very well developed. So if you order something before midnight, you get it in the morning next day. That's in the Netherlands, and that's here in Singapore. But no way that you can promise that in Indonesia.
Ah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
What got you into Magento?
I started working at an agency that specialised in Magento just randomly. I was a web designer, and then I got hired as a junior web developer for an e-commerce agency that specialised in Magento, and then got thrown in the deep end a little bit. They were like, "Oh, here's a design, go build it in Magento." I was like, "What?" So yeah, I just quickly fell in love with it. So I don't know why. It's just something that I get along with. I actually get along with it better than I ever did WordPress or any other CMS that I've ever used. And then
and before you know it, you're bleeding orange.
Yeah, and now, yeah, all I wear is like anything that's remotely orange coloured. And I have to buy it. I mean, I think my mascot's around here somewhere. Here he is. He was orange, so I brought him. He's just a dog toy. And I love the community. I think that's what keeps you drawn in. I love that community feel into it. You don't have to do anything on your own if you're struggling with anything, which really helped when I was learning. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should do a Magento event or a Meet Magento in the Netherlands on April 27th. That's King's Day, or around that day, and our national color is orange.
Yeah.
So we could. That's a good time to do some shopping if you're a Magento fan.
Whenever I'm watching like the like England games and stuff, and we're playing the Netherlands, I always want to support the Netherlands because they're in orange. It's a nice kit.
We lose a lot, so but yeah, the orange is nice.
Yeah, got a nice kit, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So it's really hot. So, what were we talking about? Meet Magento, because you were part of Meet Magento when it first kicked off, really, weren't you? So what do you think's been like made it so successful?
Well, there's a lot of things that local companies they're interested in selling Magento and building Magento, and one of the reasons that Meet Magento is a success, it forms like and same thing for Meet Magento Association. It's an umbrella organization. It's organizing things to support, to facilitate the use of Magento in a country or on a local level. And it doesn't always make sense for a local company to do that. If you're one solution partner, it doesn't necessarily make sense to organize a Meet Magento because it's a lot of work. And it doesn't, the event itself, they break even. So you don't earn money with the event itself. But of course you earn a lot of respect with it when organizing, but that doesn't mean you're earning more money with it. But something like Meet Magento and Meet Magento Association, we can help with that. We can make that a lot easier. In the Netherlands, we also see that when we have a Meet Magento, the Meet Magento events, we have all solution partners coming in, industry partners coming in. And what we always say, the Meet Magento, it's not about dividing the cake or dividing the cake between each other. It's about making a bigger cake or a bigger pie. We really see that happening. We have at Meet Magento in the Netherlands, we have one day specifically for only solution partners, and it's only for merchants that are not using Magento yet. They might be using something else, or they might be purely offline right now, and they're interested in buying an online e-commerce platform or a new platform. And on that day, we purely focus on getting more people on Magento. And the great thing about that is that we always mix them and mix and match them in a way that we say to the merchants, hey, we have these 20 solution partners here, but you should really talk to these 5 because they match your profile. And the other way around, with the solution partner, we say we have these 180 merchants coming today, but you should really talk to these 30, 40 because they match your profile. And and that really helps. And you also see that when the merchant goes to a solution partner that might not be a good fit, you see them helping them to find a good fit with another solution partner, which is a competitor of them. So that really, the market, at least in the Netherlands, is big enough for all of us to exist. So we can work together in finding the best solutions for the merchants. And that form of altruism really works, I think. And and that's the success of Meet Magento, I think, bringing together all those companies to collaborate and make the Magento pie bigger and bigger.
And you're the Western VP, Western Europe VP. Is that right for Meet Magento?
That means I'll be looking at events in Western Europe mainly, and connecting the local events to local partners and sponsors, and trying to get the international sponsors sponsoring the local events. Yeah. But as you can see, I'm also in Singapore, so I'm flexible.
You'll spread to Southeast Asia if you need to.
Definitely. But it's really fun to travel, and maybe also as a psychologist, but it's always fascinating when you go to other cultures. That really challenges how you think, what your defaults are, how you function, how you think, how you cross the street, how you, for example, here everyone drives for me on the wrong side, as you know. For you the right side. Yeah. But that just one simple example of how different habits are in a society. And you get confronted when you go to different cultures. And I also do presentations about cross-cultural website optimization. It's always interesting how how different cultures function and the different standards and defaults we have. And then you realize, hey, it's not just why are we driving on the right? It's not because that's the right thing to do. That's just someone picked that once. There's nothing wrong with either. But just the default we got used to, and then that happens.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting to see. And when you travel a lot, that's what you see, and that's also really interesting for the Meet Magento Association. When you got a lot of questions from companies, that it's really hard to go to another country. We see a lot of American companies that want to go to Europe and find out it's actually really hard to do because they expect Europe being Europe. But then you find out there's a lot of countries in Europe, and that's really, I mean, Texas in America is also a hell, but it's also in Europe you have so many more variables in each country. It's really hard to do, and that's also with the Meet Magento Association what we try to help everyone with that, getting that knowledge and connect. Well, not saying that we have all the knowledge, but connecting them to the right partners in the countries they want to go to.
Yeah, helping everyone conquer the world. So that. Speaking of the world, obviously Meet Magento has been in nearly 20 countries. Is it now? That Meet Magento's had events in? Yeah, I think I read 18, but that was before Indonesia, so there might be over 20 now. But obviously you didn't want to stop there. Next step, world domination with Meet Magento World event that's coming up. And you're frontlining that, aren't you? With, is it David Manners? Did I see his name around?
Yeah, we're hosting the event. The idea came from another conference I attended in spring this year. It was also an online conference, 3 days. It was about conversion optimization. And I thought, why are we not doing this with Magento? And they do it once a year. But we already have this great platform, Meet Magento. And what we also hear is that there's a lot of great local content that doesn't get across the border, and that's a waste. It's a shame that someone in Japan has great content which can be applied anywhere, but doesn't get shared. It's hard to share, especially when they do it in a local language. And what we want to achieve with Meet Magento World is being able to spread that knowledge everywhere. And the event will it will have a lot of new content, but we will have we already know what the audiences appreciate most in terms of content and speakers. We have this great Meet Magento app we use for conferences made by Snowdog, and people get to rate the sessions they are in. So we have a lot of ratings from all the sessions that are done on previous Meet Magento events. So we have a pretty good idea what people like and what people don't like. So we're gonna combine that, get a lot of those great speakers from local Meet Magento events to a global level. And we're gonna add some great speakers from Meet Magento, or for the outside the Magento community, from maybe PHP or other development communities that you usually don't see at Magento events, but have great content for Magento developers or Magento merchants.
Are you still looking for speakers then at the moment?
We have a big list of speakers, like I said, mainly coming from existing Meet Magento events, and we asked some of those popular speakers. We also asked them to give us a list of people outside the Magento community. We are contacting them for sessions. But yeah, the program is not complete, so definitely we still need to finalize that. We have some speakers on the website right now. Those are almost all from inside the Magento community. But yeah, the program needs to be complete. We will have the conference. It's 3 days, 9 hours a day. So we have and sessions will last like half an hour. So we have quite some sessions. Yeah,
that's exciting. So on the website, I saw the timings. I think for us it starts at 3 or something around then. So is it just obviously one long day, but people can just come in and out of anytime they want? Is that how it's going to work, or are there different sessions with different areas?
The program will obviously be published upfront, and since it's an online conference, you can go away and come back whenever you want, to make it as efficient as possible for you. Of course, we will try to get the sessions in you want to watch from the first session to the last day. But of course, everyone has different needs. You may have seen a speaker about a certain topic already, so it's easy to skip. But yeah, about the time zones, we will have a 9-hour time slot each day that we will be presenting in. For Europe, that's 3 p.m. till midnight. And so obviously, on the website, you can read the different time zones. And if you're in San Francisco, that will be 6 a.m. in the morning till 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So yeah. And the good thing, of course, it's online, so and everything will be recorded. And depending on your ticket type, you can access all videos afterwards too. And during the sessions, we will have a lot of sessions with interaction with the speakers. You can ask questions. We will have breakout sessions where we put together teams of people that have the same interest and can discuss about different topics. We can do something like Google Hangouts. Well, they're going to kill Google Hangouts, so it's probably not going to be Google Hangouts, but the YouTube variant, there will be a lot of interaction during the days itself. So it's really going to be interesting to see that happening, and that's really what we think is really important, because that's also it's still Meet Magento. So it's still important to meet the people that can help you further in whatever you do with Magento. So it's really still about that connection, getting people introduced to each other, getting them chatting, getting them sharing their knowledge, sharing the issues they have, and working towards a better understanding of whatever you do with Magento.
Great, that's great. So I was wondering about that. I was wondering, is it just going to be like videos, or just going to go on and see people? But with the interaction, I think that'll attract a lot more people.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that we could record up front and then just press play on December 6th and then say goodbye on December 8th. That's definitely not going to happen, and it's definitely a challenge because it is online, and it is harder to interact online through a computer screen while you're at home sitting on your couch or in bed or whatever, whatever fancies you. And but that's we're working really hard on several. We have a lot of ideas that we're going to try out to facilitate that. Yeah.
You said earlier about after parties. You're gonna do any kind of an online Magento World after party? How do you see that happening?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you to host that one.
So I don't know how do we do that? Just online.
Well, have you seen there are certain tools out there where everyone can just log in and you see everyone on the screen, so you have a long list or rows of only webcam screens. That could be fun if we can do that.
Yeah, that could be really fun. Yeah, that sounds good.
Something like that, and we can make sure we can send everyone instructions to get some beer up front or get something. And we're also planning on sending people stuff actually.
Oh yeah.
We still want this to be in Meet Magento, so we want to have something like a goodie bag, and not just sponsor spam, but actual fun stuff. And we're working on that. That's also going to be an interesting thing, I think, and also a logistical challenge because we need to send a lot of stuff to a lot of places. So preferably it should be something that fits into
envelope size.
Yeah, envelope size. But we're working on something that will work, and so maybe we can all have the same hat or something.
I can send you the template that I used to make my Magento crown when I did the first YouTube video.
Yeah.
There you go, it's just a printout, just cut it out, sellotape it together, stick it on your head.
Yeah,
but then maybe other people would call themselves also Her Majesty. I don't know if you would want that.
Yeah. Yeah. We might. Okay, I'll have to make it smaller so that mine's bigger than everyone else's.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Different. Yeah. Not make them orange or something.
Something like that.